Jenna and Jamie, how are you guys today?
Pretty good.
Yeah, you doing good this week?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to review, at our first session last week, we talked about just your communication issues and a little bit of how your relationship has been struggling a bit. And I know that we talked about how you guys were going to work on your communication. And last week, you said that on a scale of 1 to 10, your communication was only at a 3. And how do you think it is this week?
I think it's a little better, probably maybe a 5, maybe.
Okay. How do you define a 5? What does that mean?
Well, things have definitely gotten better. We've talked a lot more. I told her how I felt about things, obviously, about the adoption, and it's been easier to express how I feel about that. But things are still kind of rocky, so pretty rocky actually.
You guys said that you talked about adoption this
Yeah.
last week?
Yeah.
Okay, are you both for that, or
I'm not for it at all.
no?
No.
You don't want children?
I mean, I want children, but I don't want children because my parents don't know, and I don't know how I'm going to break it to them. So I'm just like, do I or do I not?
Okay, so you don't want children because your parents don't know that you're in a same-sex relationship?
Correct.
Okay, and then question, obviously, where the child came from.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I just wish her parents knew. I think it's kind of silly that they don't. I mean, we've been together for 2 years now, so how much longer? It's just kind of frustrating. It's one of our biggest arguments.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you feel you're going to tell your parents? Or?
I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon. I really don't know. Like, I contemplate about all the time. But my parents are, really religious, so they're like, if they don't like something, they'll probably, disown me, and I don't want to be disowned. So it's my biggest issue.
So you fear, if you tell your parents that they're going to do something, that's how they'll react, do you think?
Yes.
Do your parents know?
Yeah, my parents know. And, at first it was hard for them to deal with, but they've come to terms with it, so they're okay with it. The adoption thing, I don't really know how they'll react if we ever adopted, but I think they'd be okay with that. They want grandkids, and I'm the only child, so.
Okay. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how was communication for you this week?
It was about a 7 to stay the same. I know she wanted to talk more, so I let her talk because we have been having communication issues. So it would pretty much be a 7.
Okay. So you did talk more. Did you talk about every day, or was it every other day?
Every day.
Okay, that's good. And so one of the things that we talked about was just how each of you deal with the other's relationships, the feelings and stuff as well. And how do you feel that she's dealing with it? When you tell her your feelings, how do you feel that she's reacting?
I feel like she's trying to understand, but most of the time, she's frustrated with me because she wants me to tell my parents and wanting to be accepted by them. At the same time, she's trying to understand, but it's not there yet. See it from my point of view.
And how do you feel that she's reacting to what you feel?
Sometimes I just feel like she's not receptive. I think she understands where I'm coming from as far as wanting kids, but at the same time, she's not willing to do anything to help us get that far. So,
what do you think she could do to help you get that far?
well, I think the biggest thing would just be telling her parents first, because that's the biggest issue. So,
I'm working on it. I
Yeah.
promise. Day at a time.
So you don't want children at all, or you just don't want children because you don't want your parents to fight?
I'll eventually want children, but right now, since my parents don't know about it, then no, not until I tell them first, because I don't be like, oh, let's have a child, and the parent be like, oh, where did this come from? And I'm like, oh, by the way, mom and dad, I'm a lesbian, been dating for 2 years, so I want to tell them first, and then try to go adopt a child and go from there.
And you're thinking about telling your parents?
Yes.
If you were to tell your parents, who would you want in the room with you? Would Jenna come with you, or would you go alone?
I would probably go alone first to just break the ice, and then eventually bring her home, and then us all have a conversation together where they get to know her, and maybe they'll start to understand.
So have you met her parents before?
A couple times, yeah. Right now that we know each other, they've met, they've been to the house, but they think we're just roommates, so.
So you can't act like a couple in front of
Right.
them.
Yeah.
And when you go to your parents' house, you act like a couple?
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much we'll be BFFs at my house.
So, if you woke up tomorrow and everything was exactly how you wanted it to be, what would that look like for you?
Her parents would know about us, and hopefully we'd be talking a lot more, communication would be better, and we'd be in the process of adopting a child.
Now, same question, if you woke up tomorrow and everything was perfect, what would it look like for you?
Shoot, I feel like my parents would think that this would be a great thing. They wouldn't be judgmental to it. Everything would be like happy-go-lucky, and then we'd be the same, like filling out the stuff for our adoption kid, and then hopefully we get it.
So it sounds like both of you kind of have similar, what would be your perfect ideal life, so that's good. And then how do you think that we should go about accomplishing that? Like, what's the next step would you like to take?
She just needs to tell her mom, our dad. I think it's a simple answer, but that's what we argue about, so apparently it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Hey, they're not easy to please.
So, before the problem occurred, like before you guys were having these issues, like did you have communication issues in the very beginning, or has this problem always existed, or what was it like when there was no problems?
Well, for me, the problem just began when we were talking about adoption, because you can't really have a child and your parents come over, is this like a kid you're babysitting or what? And then you try to explain the whole situation. No, it's my kid. And like, oh, where'd it come? I didn't know you weren't dating someone or something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely just like came about recently. Things were fine before me, which of course I'm older than she is, so obviously want kids more now, so I can have time to raise it. But
So, what were the good things about your relationship before the problem existed? Talk a little bit about how it used to be.
we used to be friends, and then one thing led to the other, and we just like each other. So
Okay, so from what it sounds like, just the main issue came about when you started talking about adoption,
Correct.
and so obviously that's not going to go away because you have that desire, and you also have somewhat that desire, but it's just a barrier right now. And so what we should probably work on for next week, since you did say that you want to tell your parents, one of the tasks that we should set out is a timeline to tell your parents possibly, what you might say, who's going to be there, how you think they'll react, do some role playing. I can act to be like your mom or your dad, and we can role play it out so you feel more comfortable having that conversation with them. Would you be willing to do that?
Yes.
So maybe for our third session, we can do the role playing, and then if you'd like to be in the room so you know like how that's going to go, and then if you guys just want to talk about whether you'd be there, whether you want it, if you want to let your parents know that once your parents know, are your parents going to meet, or are your families gonna mix? How do you feel about that?
I think it'll take a while, just because my parents, they weren't as religious as hers, so obviously they were more accepting. It did take a little bit, but not as long as I did hers.
I feel like it's going to be a longer process with mine since they're so religious, but if they really love me as a child to them, I feel like that they would be able to, and hopefully over time that they would think that her family's okay, and then we can be all one big happy family. But if the case not, then I'm not going to let my parents' choices affect me and our relationship, because that's something that I want. They can't choose who I love or anything like that.
Okay, so that must be reassuring to you to know that whether her parents accept it or not, she's still going to be staying in a relationship. So that's a plus. So basically so next session we're going to do our role playing, and then so this week we're going to also continue on our communication with how we've been doing. It sounds like you guys have both been doing better because it was a better scale this week. And then what else would you guys like to work on?
I think that's the biggest thing. I think just working towards that. How we're going to handle that.
Okay, so that plan sounds good for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. And then we can talk about the adoption after that, because with that being the biggest thing, we'll have to get over that first.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely work on, and you guys have had good communication before in the past, so that will definitely help you now, just to remember how it used to be. So that's a really big strength, is that this hasn't always been a problem. You can get over it. And another strength is that you're willing to tell your parents, and that you guys both want that to happen, and that both of your perfect plans are similar. So you guys have a lot of positives going for you. It's just obviously working towards actually overcoming these barriers. So that's really positive. So then we'll probably get together in about another week. What time works good for you guys?
Any time for me works really well because I'm only like part-time right now and going to school. So mostly probably early morning in day.
Okay.
Yeah, mornings, usually like early in the week is fine.
Okay, so let's say 10 o'clock on Monday morning?
Yeah, that works.
All right, sounds good.
Alright. Thanks.